Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. On tonight's Versus, we have Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 Tennessee Whiskey coming in at a 40% ABV versus Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey coming in at a 45% ABV. Now, here on the channel we have a saying: it doesn't matter what you drink or how you drink it, as long as you enjoy it. And I know a lot of times people only look at Jack Daniel's as a mixer, something you're going to throw into Coke, or maybe just put it on ice if anything. However, if you're new to whiskey, you might want to try experimenting with some of these more budget-friendly options to kind of start drinking on neat, or at least getting yourself into whiskey. Now, at the end of the day, again, it doesn't matter which one you end up picking, but I wanted to kind of break these two down for one main reason. Nowadays, this is becoming easier to find on the shelves, though nowhere where it should be, but price-wise, these tend to be in a very similar category. And to be honest, Jack Daniel's, while it doesn't want to be called a bourbon, from what we know, the mash bill matches to what would be legally deemed a bourbon. The big difference here is the reason they're calling this a Tennessee whiskey, legally calling it that, is because of the Lincoln County process, where they take their Jack Daniel's and filter it through charcoal. This gives it its Jack Daniel's flavor profile, plus makes it a more smoother drinking experience according to them. So let's jump into the bottles themselves, talk about color, notes, taste, wrap it up in the winner section, and we'll see who wins at the end of it. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some individual reviews over both of these bottles or some other budget-friendly bourbons, links to those videos will be up above and down below. And again, I know Buffalo Trace is not accessible to most markets still today. It's better than what it's been in past years, but nowhere where we want it. Some people are very lucky that it's coming back to shelves a little easier, but I know a lot of people out there don't get that luxury. Boy, oh boy, on first glance, they are almost identical. However, the Jack Daniel's is a little bit lighter. That could be because of its aging or because of that charcoal filtering kind of stripping away a little bit of color on there. However, they're both very, very close to each other. Alrighty, let's start on notes for the Jack Daniel's. Yeah, I mean, that's classic Jack Daniel's right on the nose. You're getting a little bit of that sweet banana note. It very much has this almost like distinct banana bread note for me. Like freshly ripe bananas, you just peeled them, sliced them up. Get a little bit of that oaky cherry layer going on. Sweet vanillas, a little bit of caramel in there. But that maple and the banana notes are two things that I always find in Jack Daniel's, and it definitely showcases on the nose. No real ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. I mean, it is a very soft, yet, I mean, it's right up home alley if you're looking for just a simple whiskey. But the big thing for me is always that banana note, and I almost get like a maple nut goodies kind of candy, so you get this kind of maple sugary sweet note going on. But I love that banana note, and I know some people, again, love or hate it, but for me, I don't really mind it at all. I enjoy that, actually. A little bit of spiciness in there. I'm going to assume there's probably some build of rye in here. But yeah, overall, very simple, very classic, and right up home plate for a good whiskey. Alrighty, let's go for notes on the Buffalo Trace. And here, you definitely can tell the difference right away. You're getting more sweet characteristics of buttery sweet corn and a little bit of the rice spiciness. And there is like a sweet underlying, like a cakey note for me. Like a dessert kind of cake. Get that charriness from the barrel itself, very light in there. A lot of caramels, vanilla sweetness, like vanilla bean paste. Very much right up home plate for a great Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. If anything, there is maybe a little bit of warmth on that nose comparatively, but this is just all your sweet buttery corn, that rye spiciness, herbal. It's got this kind of underlying cake note, and it's got like a berry glaze over the top, like a bit of blackberry kind of drizzled over the top. And see, when you instantly go back here, you're finding more of that maple sweetness, or like a fresh, like at a farmer's market, kind of homemade, I'm going to call it, kind of a locally sourced maple syrup kind of sweetness in there. Very approachable, but a lot of that banana is starting to show up as well. Very like freshly sliced banana, or like from a just ripe banana peel. Alrighty, let's go for taste on the Jack Daniels. And yeah, right away, you get that kind of oaky spiciness, a little bit of wood sugars going on. And then you're getting that maple sweetness in there with that kind of underlying banana note. And for me, it comes across like a homemade banana bread. It's got this kind of green, kind of under-ripened banana on the taste for me. It's also got a bit of bitterness in there, and it might just be because of the barreling process for it itself, but I always find a little dash of bitterness in here. It's not that it's bad, but it does come across with just a pinch of that in there. But overall, nothing to really complain about. It's a very simple, little thin on the taste. Again, it is only 40%, so that's kind of expected, but it's all right. Second sip here kind of lightens up that bitterness that I was finding. Still getting a lot of that kind of fruity, sweet banana notes, that underlying kind of charry oakiness in there, and just a very simple, soft palate on things. Really not super complex, nor is it meant to be, let's be honest there. But overall, can't argue with it. It's a classic. Alrighty, let's go for taste on the Buffalo Trace. That's dark good. A lot of sweet kind of green apple tartness on there, charriness from the oak, vanilla cream sweetness, that kind of cakey note going on, a little bit of that blackberry drizzled across the top. A little more warmth on the palate. Again, it's 5% higher comparatively to the Jack Daniels, so that's not surprising by all means, but that's a good sip. It leaves a little bit of spiciness and a little pepperiness on the palate here in the finish, so you are getting to enjoy that sip longer comparatively to the Jack Daniels. And it's just approachable. There's nothing wrong with that sip in its price point. It's really good. Second sip here, getting a little bit more spiciness on the palate, a little bit more of the cakey sweet layers going on, and just that nice classic dusty corn, a little bit of the barley showing up on the taste as well. And again, for me, that linger on the finish gives a nice light pepperiness with those wood sugars going on. But at the end of the day, it's just a really approachable classic bourbon. All right, well, let's talk about a winner here. Well, let's be honest. If both of these here in Indiana are found at $25, seldom can I find this at $20 or less. Usually it's like 22 to 24, sometimes up to 26. And typical pricing on this for SRP is about $25. Sometimes it jumps a little higher to $28, but I'm easily finding it sub $30 for the Buffalo Trace. For a good, solid, neat pour of what we're comparing here, I got to give it to the Buffalo Trace. It's a little sweeter, it's a little more approachable, and overall, it's just got more of a finish to things. It kind of just lingers off a little more softer, and it has that bit of pepperiness, those wood sugars going on. It just pulls you in for another drink. Whereas the Jack Daniels kind of just goes a little too thin for me. And again, it's not meant to be a super exciting or super impactful, deep kind of sip you can sit and really kind of pick apart. It's not a bad dram at all, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, if you're using this for mixers, both of these are going to do you a good job. But the great thing about the Buffalo Trace, it's going to be a little more versatile, allowing you to not only enjoy neat, you can enjoy it on the rocks, and inside cocktails without going below that 40% of what the Jack Daniels is going to do. But either way, as always, it doesn't matter what you drink or how you drink it, as long as you enjoy it. So with that, I have to give it to the Buffalo Trace. So there you have it, folks. Jack Daniels Old No. 7 versus Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. If you have questions about either bottle, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. Love doing these reviews and sharing through the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I really like it might